Hey everybody, Dual666 here. Welcome back to the channel. First update of the year. We've got a exclusively 80s slasher DVD update here. Excited to talk about all these films. I know that I said I was going to be a lot more active in the end of last year. It just hasn't really worked out. I've still been very busy with just both my bands, so doing music, making music, playing shows and whatnot. But I did put out 2 records last year. Yeah, you guys should check those out. They're the living testament to where I've been basically the whole time. So if you're interested, check them out. The links will be below in the description. Both of my bands put out an EP, so yeah, you can check out both of them through these releases. But yeah, we're gonna get into this. Got a really good stack here. So you guys know how we like to do. Give it a little cheers here. Keep it real with the stoners. All right, let's talk about some flicks, guys. First up, we're going to go chronologically. Starting in 1980, we have a Halloween clone, He Knows You're Alone. This is Tom Hanks' debut flick. Oddly enough, he gives a pretty Tom Hanks early 80s performance, as you can imagine. He's more on the funny side. This is, it comes out right in the golden period of the genre, 1980, 1981. And it's not a bad flick, but I feel like it's definitely right in the middle. It's not a bad flick, but it's not one of the greats, in my opinion. It's just a decent Halloween clone with a little more violence, I would say. But definitely worth checking out, so look into that if you're interested. Next up, 1981, I believe, we have Night School. This one hits me with like some giallo vibes, especially the twist at the end. It's definitely like right in the middle with the same, it comes right in the golden era, but it's right in the line. Not a great slasher, but certainly not a bad one. There's some cool kills in here. It stays mainly with the same weapon, I would say, so it is more of like a traditional slasher, really. But yeah, I would say that it's definitely worth checking out for people that are fans of the genre, diehards of slashers, especially 80s slashers. Getting a little more obscure here, we have Frankie Avalon is the killer in this flick. From 1982, we have Bloodsong. The artwork on the front of this disc has nothing to do with the movie. I don't know why it's there. It's on the disc as well. Dark World Entertainment put this out, and I guess they just decided not to use original artwork. They were just going to use whatever the hell they came up with. You can see that Frankie Avalon is looking real spacey and goonish on the back there. This is a pretty good flick. Not really like big in the twist department, but the kills are good, and I'd say it's fairly well acted for the genre. All that's considered there. Very cheap edition of this. I don't know if anybody else really puts this out. So tread lightly if you're not really big on cheaper prints. Like, it's definitely lacking in the video department. Definitely deserves a restoration, but I think it's well worth checking out if you're a slasher diehard. Next up, also from 1982, we have Miss 45. This is not a traditional slasher. It's a slasher in the same way that Death Wish is. It's more of a body count flick. Definitely framed more in the like rape revenge exploitation sort of angle. Set leading up to Halloween and the climax being on Halloween. You can't really go wrong with this flick. There's all sorts of crazy fucking violence in this movie. The soundtrack's off the hook. It's very well acted. Definitely do yourself a favor and check out Miss 45. This movie fucking kicks ass. One of the best films I have acquired in a long time. Next up, we have from 1983, Sweet 16. This has Bo Hopkins in it, and I love that guy. It's kind of on the mid side with the quality overall. Holding back, like pulling punches with the violence in lieu of more character development. The twist is pretty cool. I would say that it's fairly well acted, which is not necessarily like key for these movies, but it shines through. I think it makes it a little more. It just like leaves a more lasting impression on you. Like there's actually a decent movie here as well. It's not just a straight up slasher. This is a great Code Red release of it. You should always go through Code Red when you can. So check that out ASAP. Okay. We have a really old Elite Entertainment DVD here. This is from 1984. We have Splatter University. Splatter, sorry, kind of mulled over that word. Splatter University. Very, very micro-budgety sort of flick, but not showing so much. It's pretty well made for what it is. There's, you know, a few decent kills, and there's a few really corny ones, and the actors are overacting like crazy. It's definitely got this like dirty, dingy sort of inner city in the 80s feel to it, so that's pretty cool. It kind of gives a little griminess, a little sleaziness. But yeah, I think it's well worth checking out if you're a diehard for the genre. Getting progressively more micro budget, we have 1984's Satan's Blade, filmed in my locale, very close to me up in Big Bear, California. This is a very, very low budget flick as well. I think there's some better kills in this flick, honestly, but it's way, way worse acting. And, you know, you didn't have a lot to go for in this one. You know, the bad acting here, but worse acting here for sure. Still, I think it's pretty fun. This is a slasher video DVD, so Martini Olive put it out. Definitely pretty cool that they were able to restore it to this point. It's definitely suffered some damages to the original elements, I believe. But no, it looks pretty clean here for what it is. It's a very, very low budget film. We're very lucky that we get to see it. Here's one that you might not be so lucky to see, even if you do see it. Is Spine from 1986. One of the worst films in this update for sure. I'd heard a lot of good about this over the years, but it must have been from people that absolutely love shot on video 80s slashers, because this doesn't have a lot going for it, in my opinion. It's pretty drawn out, and it's got a very short runtime, and it's still very drawn out in my opinion. But yeah, just not a whole lot going on. The kills are weak in my opinion. The acting is absolutely atrocious. The print quality on this DVD is absolutely horrible. It looks like a shitty VHS transfer. So tread lightly, you know, with Spine. I still have had some fun with it. I've watched it a few times. I'm trying to let it grow on me a bit, but it's just definitely one of those flicks that's not that good. All right, we have You'll Die at Midnight from Lamberto Bava from 1986. This is some more tame Bava, I would say. It's almost as if it was made for TV. I think it might have been, actually. But still, not a bad flick. Much more on the giallo side. But lots of nudity and some decent kills and whatnot. You know, what can you really say? Like how could it... It's like a TV movie and then there's nudity. I don't really understand it. It rides that line really, really strangely, I would say. So, still, you know, pretty decent slasher movie for the time, letting it be known that it came out so far after the golden years, you know, 81. I would say 78 to 81, really. But yeah, I would check it out if you like Bava. It's definitely one not to miss. Keeping it Italian here with my favorite director, we have Dario Argento's Opera from 1987. Definitely not one of my favorites from him, but still, it's kind of like a return to the giallo that made him famous in the 70s after he was doing some supernatural stuff in the late 70s, early 80s. And yeah, it's pretty good. It's missing that like hyper-erotic stylistic sort of edge that those earlier films had, but it's still well worth seeing, you know. If it's by Argento, chances are it's well worth seeing, so definitely check out Opera. Hailing also from 1987, we have The Majorettes. This movie starts off as like a run-of-the-mill, just very, very hyper 80s slasher movie. Set at a high school with a bunch of people that are way too old to be in these roles. The whole 9 yards, basically. But it kind of turns into this weird action film at the end, and I think that really makes it worth seeing, like, makes it all its own. Shriek Show put this out. This might have been one, like in one of those 3-packs that were out some years ago. I'm not really sure. I found it on eBay, I believe, and ordered it. So check it out for sure. One of the better movies on this update. Perhaps the worst movie in this update and the worst 80s slasher that I know of now is Slashdance. I acquired this for $15 at Reanimated Records in La Mesa, California, and wow. For the first time in a long time, I am honestly shocked that something like this could go for $15, because It was absolutely dreadful. So drawn out, just long, stupid dance scenes, uninspired, untrained, terrible dance scenes, lots of pointless, stupid dialogue, and next to no kills or blood or anything. Just absolute drivel. Steer clear, I must say. Slashdance is an absolute travesty. All right, 1989, we have Brad Pitt's debut. Cutting Class. This is a pretty decent one, if not, tame slasher from the late 80s. Definitely plays off the whodunit angle a little more than the hyper-violent angle, so the character dynamics speak a lot more than the violence in this movie, which is cool. Like, there is some decent kills in this movie as well. It still is actively a slasher film, but it's definitely on the tamer side, especially considering, 1989, you would think that anything could go at that point, but I guess not. This one has some decent gore and kills, and it's pretty creative with those. It definitely has some noir influence as well. We have Madman from 1989. This is another South Korean DVD that I acquired on eBay. Pretty cool. Good, decent print of the movie. There's no subtitles in English. There's only subtitles in Korean. But, yeah, I think that this, while it's a little more drawn out, and less straight slasher, it's definitely a full-on supernatural slasher. And I dig the comic book angle that's kind of in it as well. It's like old school action sort of comic, or detective sort of comic. I'm not really sure. The theme wanders around a little bit, but it's a pretty well made movie in my opinion. I'm honestly shocked I haven't heard of this earlier, because it's obscure, really, really micro-budget films, but it's clear that it's not a micro-budget film. This is pretty well made, in my opinion. So, yeah, definitely check that out. On the different side, but still a pretty cool 80s slasher. Last one here, guys, is also fairly tame. Not bad. There's some decent kills in it. The isolation in the setting is pretty cool. Yeah, 1989, Darkroom. This is a Omega Entertainment old DVD. They're part of Image Entertainment, so yeah, this DVD must have come out 2003. This is very old DVD. I don't know if there's I think that there's a Vinegar Syndrome or somebody put out a Blu-ray of this recently. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if I even want to get it or not, because this movie is just so. I don't really know if there's anything that they could have put back in it, or if there's a better cut of this with more violence, but it's a pretty tame film. Decent style-wise, decently acted, but it's just nothing special at all for the genre. Just a run-of-the-mill slasher right at the cap of the decade. So check it out, only if you're a diehard, in my opinion. That's pretty much going to wrap it up, guys. I'm going to do my very best to stay active with you guys this year. I definitely intend to return in February with another update, maybe some other stuff. We'll see. I am still very busy with music, trying to write new music with both of my bands, and other ventures that pop up here and there. So until next time, guys, just make sure you be good to everybody in your life that you love, and watch some fucking horror movies, because that's what it's all about. Take it easy, guys. Hope you have enjoyed the update, and I will see you soon with something else. Keep on creeping. Take it easy, guys.